And this whole journey for me, getting involved in the spiritual work, actually began before I knew that this was what I was going to be doing. I was 13 years old, sitting in church one day. And I was sitting with my parents. I didn't like church. Church didn't feel right. There was something about it energetically that just didn't connect with me. And I can't tell you what it is. I have some ideas about what it is now, but I can't tell you specifically what it is. But I had this sense that just things weren't right. Nothing about God, nothing about Jesus, nothing about believing and the whole idea of church and the Bible. It had nothing to do with that. It just had to do with maybe the way it was being presented, maybe just the whole idea of organized religion. Now, I'm 13 years old, so I wasn't thinking in those terms at that time. But while I was sitting there, I'm looking around, the minister's up speaking, they get my pass basket around to do collection. So I'm just looking around, just thinking to myself, I wish I could get out of here. It's going to be an hour before we can leave. Just kind of what a 13, 14-year-old boy would do. And all of a sudden, as clear as could be, this loud voice goes, "You're going to be doing this someday." And I looked around trying to figure out where this came from, because it didn't come from anybody sitting around me. And it came from this side. I looked around, didn't see anybody, didn't hear anything. So my first thought was, and I did use this word because I've reflected on it, there's no way in hell. This doesn't feel right. It doesn't resonate with me at all. There's something about this that just doesn't work. And then it was about a minute or two later, the same clear voice goes, "You're going to be doing it differently." So since I was 13, 14 years old, I've held that, not really knowing what it meant, not really knowing where I was going to end up. But as I was going through my life, a lot of experiences happened that put me in front of people where I was talking about things that perhaps teenagers don't normally talk about. I had some understanding about some things, and I'm not going to say that nobody else did. I just know what I knew. And I didn't share it with people then because I thought it wasn't what normal people, or especially teenage boys, would be thinking about. So I just kept it in, but I just kept myself being aware of what it was that I was receiving, thoughts I was having. I would have people show up that would give me books on certain topics that I never thought about before, but they were books that were very applicable to who I was and what I was doing at the time. That continued until I ended up opening up my own real estate company. I started speaking and training and ended up, fortunately, traveling around the world. And I was doing a lot of different programs with real estate, but it had a spiritual bent to it. And that was really where my passion was and where my energy was. It was really where I was, what I was understanding. And I've developed an ability to really take some rather complex spiritual concepts and bring them down to terms that most people can understand. And I don't say that because I think I can understand things other people can't. It's not about that. It's just making sure that what it is I have to share is clear. And that's why I say if I say something you don't understand, just ask questions.